It is week 2 at Doug Kent's Rose Bowl Lanes in Newark, New York, and here's the lineup for today. Our returning champion, Mark Polaski, will face one of these 3 veteran bowlers, either Geno Walh, Scott Dingman, or Rocket Rob Piccoli. Well, hi, everybody, and welcome to Storm Beat the Champ, presented by BowlersMart. I'm Paul Peck with Buffalo Bowling Hall of Famer Sue Nawojski. When you look at that lineup, we know how well Mark bowled last week in beating Pat Brick, but when you look at that lineup, you see a lot of experienced guys that have been on this show before who know how to win.
I do. Mark said that it's just about making shots, but I mean, we've got guys that have made a lot of shots on this show, and a few of these guys are looking to really show themselves as winners. And then we've got Scott, who is a veteran who we know can win. So It's a lot out there.
Yeah, these wood lanes behind us have been a little tricky for the guys to get used to. Do you think the veteran bowlers will have a better chance at that?
Yeah, absolutely. They've seen all of this before, and there's not much out there that can surprise them. So, I expect to see high scores this week.
Yeah, well, we like some surprises every once in a while, so maybe we'll get some. We'll find out. Week 2 at Doug Kent's Rose Bowl Lanes. Let's get rolling. You're watching Storm Beat the Champ, presented by BowlersMart on YouTube.
Like and subscribe to our channel now. Don't miss any of the action.
Beat the Champ is sponsored by Storm, the Bowlers Company. By BowlersMart, trusted by bowlers around the world since 2004. By Latina Boulevard Foods, your favorite family in food distribution. And by Go Bowling. For friends and family fun, log on to GoBowlingNewYork.com to find a center near you. All right, let's get it started with Rocket Rob Piccoli and Scott Dingman. We talk about experience, 15 combined appearances here on Beat the Champ between these two guys. They have been regulars on our show, and in the case of Scott Dingman, he's got 3 championships on our show, which Rob is still looking for his first. But Scott Dingman, again, has been one of those guys, particularly last year in Season 1. We learned a lot about him and learned how good he is.
Great shot right there. That wasn't even a ball I saw him practicing with, so that tells you how wise he is.
And here comes Rob Piccoli. This is his 8th appearance on the show. He has been on every show in Season 2 except last month's shows at Tonawanda Bowling Center, and that's because he got sick. And he was under the weather and he couldn't make it to the show. So he has been incredibly consistent at making the show. What Rob wants to do is start figuring out ways to win more on this show.
See, now he's smiling. He should be mad.
Well, no. Rob's always smiling.
I know. He's very casual.
Yes. 40 years old from Kenmore, New York is Rocket Rob Piccoli, a 235 average in the 4 leagues that he bowls in every week. He is, this is one of those guys where if you ever ask, hey, where's Rob? The answer to that is going to be at a bowling center somewhere. Scoring and stats powered by Favorites Pizza, everyone's favorite neighborhood pizzeria. Second frame now for Rob Piccoli, and he gets that 7 to drop, and that is strike number 1 for Rob Piccoli. So we have not seen Scott for a couple of months since we were here in the Rochester area at the ABC Gates Bowl, and his streak of 3 wins in a row came a year ago at the Tonawanda Bowling Center. And then, matter of fact, that I mentioned that last loss of his, that was part of the Sam DeWitt streak that is our current high at 6 wins in a row.
Nice shot.
54 years old from Rochester, New York, with a 247 average in the 2 leagues that he bowls in. Sales rep for the Granger Company is Scott Dingman's occupation, and again, as with a lot of these guys, that may be their occupation, but their time is mostly spent hanging around, eyeing those 10 pins down the end of the lanes.
Yep, and it's become such a game of technology, and it really doesn't matter if the ball is old or brand new. It really matters that it matches up to the surface that you're on, and I can just see where this ball is picking up, and it's such a good ball reaction.
And Scott told me one of our favorite anecdotes that we get from some of these guys, particularly guys that have been on the show. And Scott bowls a lot of tournaments and was in Vegas for a bunch of big tournaments.
Nice.
He was recognized, randomly recognized. Like, hey, aren't you Scott from Beat the Champ?
Do you know that every month you tell that story?
And we keep
bowler.
adding bowlers to it.
It's phenomenal.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's really cool the way people in the bowling world have accepted this show and the ability to see it in so many ways to make these guys mini celebrities. They deserve it. They've earned it.
They put their time in, right?
Yes, they do. 21 career 300 games. We just added one recently for Rob Piccoli, and 7 career 800 series for the man they call Rocket Rob. And that picket fence on the right-hand side will not make Rob happy.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that shot. I mean, that was really left of target, I have to believe. I mean, he just hit the pocket on that shot in the first that frame in the first frame. So I don't know what happened there. Not something he's happy with, I'm sure. Tough spare.
And a good spare pickup in the third frame for Rob Piccoli.
At least he was on a strike, so I guess it really doesn't matter as long as you made the spare.
Yeah, again, we saw him a couple months ago at the Town Edge Bowling Center, and again, we've seen him every month here on the show, except for last month.
What you normally see in his game, though, is that regardless of where he bowls or what surface he's on, he's generally playing the lanes the same exact way. I mean, his game, he modifies his equipment to stay where he's comfortable.
And that's a strike.
You always see him second arrow, pretty straight up, not open up the lane at all, not moving in too much off of that, and just changing his bone balls to pretty much stay in that area.
And you get a good bird's eye look at the perfect shot there from Rob Piccoli. So Scott Dingman is from Rochester, but just for perspective purposes, we are about 48 minutes from downtown Rochester here at Doug Kent's Rose Bowl Lanes in Newark, New York, east of the city of Rochester. So even though Scott is from Rochester, he doesn't bowl here very often just because there's so many bowling centers in the greater Rochester area closer to his home that he spends more time at. But so a new experience a little bit for a lot of these guys to get here to Doug Kent's Rose Bowl Lanes.
I'm looking like he missed the left of target on that shot, so I'm thinking he's pretty surprised by that reaction.
That's a great reaction.
Yes.
Like,
told the story.
I didn't think that was going to happen.
I didn't have to tell it for him. His face did.
That was the epitome of what does a pleasant surprise look like? That. All right, so both guys with strikes in the fourth frames. And we'll had to hold off on that one to see if the 6 was going to go down. It won't.
Now that one was in a little bit, so still not feeling altogether that comfortable, it doesn't look like.
You know, these are wood lanes here at Doug Kent's Rose Bowl Lanes, so guys just don't see wood lanes a lot. What if you walk into a bowling center and you realize, oh, it's wood lanes here? What goes through your mind? What are the adjustments? What are the ball choices maybe you have to use?
Well, it's very determining too whether it's a fresh shot or if it's a shot that's been bowled on, because on wood lanes you're going to get carry down, which means you have to adjust to something that gets through the fronts better, but that there's going to be more oil in the center of the lane, a little more challenging, but you're going to make a ball choice with some knowledge. You need a little bit of knowledge. Generally speaking, a lot of these wood houses, especially, like I can speak from experience, is there's a lot of oil in the middle of the lane. So you could get something a little smoother and move in, which here we're seeing the players play out a little bit. So that's not the case. Everybody's staying a little bit right around second arrow here. So I think you have to ask a few questions.
Yeah, that was that was Rob's. That was the opposite of the pleasant surprise. That was he didn't look like he liked it or thought it would be very good until it was. So 2 in a row now. First double here for Rob Piccoli, 6th frame. Can he put a few together? No.
Pretty much the flip side of what we saw Pat leave in the last match to lose. Pocket, just a little bit of a high hit. He did get that in. You saw that sit up pretty high in the head pin, and it could be a 4 or a 9, but in the worst case scenario, you leave them both.
Let's see what he can do with it.
Ooh,
Nothing,
nice,
unfortunately. So that's an open in the 6th for Rob Piccoli. Takes us to our first time out here. It is Storm Beat the Champ, presented by BowlersMart. We're at Doug Kent's Rose Bowl Lanes.
Presented by BowlersMart.
Plenty of options.
Chamois, jerseys, balls bags, and shoes. The highest quality products you'll find on the market, and here at BowlersMart, we make sure to find the correct access point of any bowler to maximize their benefits from our products and ensure a great experience. Stop by today and let us help you, because at BowlersMart, every bowler matters.
It's the 6th frame now for Scott Dingman. 95 career 300 games and a high 847 series in the long career that has spanned almost 50 years of bowling for Scott Dingman.
Definitely an experienced bowler right here. Exhale, watch him exhale just before he goes. That's one way to, loosen up the lactose in your muscles, is to take that deep breath and then go, and it keeps your swing loose. That's an experienced bowler move.
That, I think, is the first time you have pointed out the breathing part of this game. Please expand a little on that.
No,
that's really interesting.
When you're in a pressure situation, you want to exhale just before you get into motion. There, he did it again. That's his style. Keeps everything loose.
Hey, it's working, because that's a double for Scott Dingman. Strikes in 6 and 7. Seventh frame for Rob Piccoli. He just watched Scott Dingman make back-to-back strikes. And the control of this match kind of hanging in there. And, man, that is a moment, huh? You're staring at the 7-10 until, thankfully, that 7 goes down.
He just 4-9'd on the other lane. Could be the opposite of that, is the weak 7-10.
Look at that slow motion drop of the 7-pin. So it's a spare in the 7th for Rob Piccoli.
This is a game of angles, and his angle is definitely just, right to left, and the way it's hit in the pocket isn't really giving him a consistent, solid hit.
Meanwhile, his opponent, a Rochester Bowling Hall of Famer, is Trying to take advantage and take control of this
There you
match, and
go.
that's what Rob needed.
There you go. That let the ball work a little bit. That one you saw just roll up into the pocket, and ball got to use some of his energy that way.
So let's see if Scott can continue to run some strikes together here. And again, as Sue has pointed out here, watch the exhale.
Oh, he won't do it this
Oh,
time.
of course not. You know, I think, you know, that's not uncommon in a lot of sports. You know, they tell you in golf, like before you swing, take a deep breath, exhale. Like it just relaxes your body a little bit to focus on the movement. And the movement of the pins is working right now for Scott Dingman. Winner of this match takes on Geno Walh.
Strike here puts him up a commanding 30 pins with only 2 frames to go. Ooh, got that in.
Yep, and
Looked a little quick. If you saw him at the line, it looked like his feet got a little fast. I think there's so many. There's just so many nuances to this game.
Okay, so hold on there, hold on. I'm gonna get this 4-7 here. And he does. And again, I think, you know, we saw it on last week's show, particularly with Pat Brick, and you see it with Scott Dingman, these guys that are veteran bowlers, always good at making those spares, always never opening the door for their opponent, right? We talk a little bit about there's no real defense in bowling. To me, the defense is don't ever let your opponent in. Like, you know, when you do everything you need to do, and if you're a great Hall of Fame level bowler, there's already a certain level of intimidation that's at play in it no matter what.
Yep, that's an excellent point. I mean, even going back to my college days, there was, you know, always stress making spares, and that was even less of a power game there is today. I mean, now there's so many strikes thrown that there's almost like a disregard for spares. You figure you can just throw a bunch of strikes, but you know, there's going to be shots and conditions that just plain and simple isn't possible, and you better be a solid spare shooter.
Yep, everybody loves the home runs, but if you can hit a lot of doubles and drive the runners in, you win a lot of games. And the same applies here.
That was a big non-strike for him. He really needed all his strikes to put some pressure on Scott.
So it looks like the frustration for Rob Piccoli is going to continue here, and he's such a good man. And again, he's been on every show this month except for one. You just feel we're waiting for Rob to break through and put a bunch of wins together because he just has struggled. He struggled to win. Sometimes
he missed the pocket one time in this game. I mean, he had that bad shot in the 3rd frame, but other than that, he has not missed the pocket. And
sometimes it's bad luck of who you go against, right? That happens on occasion. Sometimes you're in a match where it's 1 or 2 frames that are the difference, and you know, I just feel like there's been a lot of frustration. And Rob never shows it. He is as nice and pleasant as anybody that we deal with and talk to here, but we're rooting for him. We really are.
Oh, ball change.
We're rooting for that rocket to launch and fly for a long time. Well, he's doing his best to put a little bit of late pressure here on Scott Dingman.
That's mathematically.
All right, well, then I guess
not possible.
That ship has sailed. So all Scott needs to do is knock some pins down, and regardless of what Rob does here. So Rob Piccoli's 203 won't be enough. And again, all Scott needs to do is knock some pins down, and he is off to match number 2 against Geno Walh with a chance to bowl for this week's title against Mark Polaski. And the pins go down and the win goes up. It's Scott Dingman with a victory over Rob Piccoli. Match number 2, Dingman and Walh, is next. It's match number 2, Geno Walh and Scott Dingman for the right to play for our Beat the Champ title here at Doug Kent's Rose Bowl Lanes. And week number 2 here. And of course, if you're unfamiliar, you're asking who is Doug Kent? Well, you should know if you're a bowling fan, but we'll be happy to tell you that he is local bowler, 10 career PBA wins, PBA Player of the Year 2007, and a PBA and USBC Hall of Famer. He joined us on our show last week. It was a pleasure to talk to Doug, and just awesome to see a guy who was one of the best bowlers in the world hit retirement, decide he wanted to stay involved in the business.
Sure,
and own his own bowling center.
Canandaigua guy, so he's stayed close to home. He found a bowling center near home and just continues to give back to the sport.
Yep, he and his wife Chrissy, the proprietors here at the Rose Bowl Lanes.
Also a really good bowler in her own right. We bowled together, many a tournament, and her sister Leslie Beamish, we bowled college at the same time, not for the same school, but I've known those two sisters for quite a long time, and she's another one that works diligently to give back to the sport.
46-year-old Geno Walh from Lackawanna, New York. 226 is the average. Geno's making his 3rd appearance on our show, and we saw him last month at the Tonawanda Bowling Center. Still looking for his first victory here on Beat the Champ.
Oh, here we go again.
Yep, and an open in the first frame and a 10-pin in the second is not necessarily the best formula for success to get that first win.
No, I feel like, in the times that we've seen Geno, now obviously he's bowling really well right now because he's made quite a few of our telecasts. But the spares have been a little bit of a challenge for him at the inopportune times that have, kind of cost him. Good one there.
Good spare pickup in the second frame, and back over to Scott Dingman off that 233 to 203 win in the first match against Rob Piccoli. And the Rochester area native and Rochester USBC Hall of Fame member gets set to look down the lanes for frame 2. Now that one hooked a little bit too much, and that leaves 247 on the left side.
All right, take a look at this. It did not look like a bad shot for me. We might be getting some change in the lanes. It hit the spot, and it made the turn real quick. It hooked a little early for him. He'll be making a little bit of a move over there.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things we've learned about watching Scott over the years is he sees that, he knows what it did, and he knows how to make the adjustments.
Not how he was going after that spare.
You don't think so?
No.
You don't think he wanted to nudge the 2-pin to take the 4 and the 7 out?
I don't think he was going for it on the outside of the spare.
Well, guess what? It goes down on the scorebook as a spare.
That's right. That's an easy one to chop, so take it how you can get it.
Two leagues a week for Scott Dingman, and he has a 247, amazing 247 average in those leagues. And again, that
is verified. That is a
yeah,
verified
people think that I'm making this stuff up,
yep,
right?
I was questioning on that, and that is a verified average. Nice.
And again, that's an amazing number, right? Like that is as high a number as anybody that we'll have on our show has a current average. Because it's an average, that means it's you bowled a lot of really good games to get to that point. But that says a lot about who he is.
Mm-hmm. It means a lot of strikes in a row.
Oh, it just will wobble and not go down on the 4-pin. Geno could have used a strike there. What was the highest average you've ever had? You remember? I'm going to put you on the spot
yeah,
here.
No,
I feel like bowlers know all of this stuff.
No, I think around
right?
215 was about as high as I got. It takes a lot of bowling, to maintain that. I mean, to maintain a good average. I mean, it's equipment and all of that aside, it's still, equipment can help you out a little bit, but it's still no replacement for a couple games of practice here that are bowling multiple leagues a week. You talk about how Rocket Rob bowls in 4 leagues a week. That's a lot of balls thrown and keeps you in a rhythm. When you don't bowl regularly, your timing is the first thing that goes, and that is the most critical part of your game.
226 is the average for Geno in the 2 leagues that he bowls in a week. And boy, everything about this shot, particularly from that angle we just showed you, looked perfect. And it just flew past the 10.
It just ran out of steam a little bit. Just did not continue through the pins. And
well, Geno's making all of his spares 3 in a row since that open in the first frame. And now he has got to figure out how to start striking and hope that Scott stops, because it's strikes in 2 of the 3 frames for Dingman.
Yep, he has to make a little bit of an adjustment here on this right lane. This lane he went high on last time, so we'll take a look at how he compensates for that.
Are you starting to get a feel for some of the differences between the 2 lanes right now?
Well, they're just gonna change a little bit as you go, and that's pretty normal. He just got the ball out a little further. All he needed to do is probably move his feet a little bit to the right and looked out on the lane a little further. It was just a subtle change.
So that's 2 in a row, first double of the match for Scott Dingman. We have seen him bowl on our show before. We have seen his son Josh bowl on his show. We have seen Josh bowl versus Scott on our show before, and it was son that beat father last season, you'll remember.
Yep, and now the father's been on a bunch of times since then.
Yes. So Scott's 3 wins in a row all came at the Tonawanda Bowling Center last year, and those 3 wins in a row are tied for the 3rd longest streak that we have had on our show. Sam DeWitt's 6 in a row is number 1. Derek Green, that we saw last week's 5 in a row, is number 2. And then it's Scott, George Shableski, Josh Shoemaker, and Mike Zarcone have all won 3 weeks in a row. So another spare for Dingman, and speaking of spares, it's been 3 in a row for Geno, and now's the time to start striking.
Yep, it sure is. There's that 4-pin again.
Yep. What causes that?
Just a little bit. It just hits the pins. It hits the head pin that's just a little bit high. He seems to be playing this lane a little straighter up.
So a little more straight on to the head pin is what you mean by being high, and then that doesn't move the pins the way that head pin, I assume, is part of taking out the 4.
Yeah, the more on top of the head pin you are, the more likely you are to leave a split. Like that could have, when they left the 4-9, and when we saw 4-9 earlier, you could leave the 4 or the 9, and you're hoping to leave one or the other. I mean, it's the result of a high hit.
It's the physics and science of bowling, right?
Sure is, yep.
I was told there would be no real math involved, but if you're going to watch bowling, you better have some math. Aside from keeping score, you start to get into things like that. And there you go. There's time it's the 10 pin that won't go down for Geno.
Well, we say repetition is important, and Geno has completely repeated the same shots on the same lanes. So with the same results, unfortunately.
So what kind of adjustment do you think might he want to consider making?
Oh,
I'll let you think about that.
Got a little time to think about it.
I'll let you think about it. We'll answer that question when we return from our commercial break. It's Storm Beat the Champ, presented by BowlersMart.
The Western New York area has long been considered one of the best anywhere for the sport of bowling.
And no matter where you live, we have lanes nearby.
For top competition,
Fun with family and friends,
great food and drink, or just a night out, we got you.
we are
The Bowling Proprietors.
of Western New York.
Stop in and enjoy our sport today.
12X Tech Bowling Supplies is committed to continuing the decades-long tradition of excellence established by the DeSanto family. We are the ultimate destination for customer service, experience, and product variety. We offer an extensive inventory of balls, bags, shoes, and accessories. Our unique fitting and drilling process, combined with our in-house lane, ensures a perfect fit every time. With a range of repair and maintenance services, we can help keep your gear performing at its best. Consult our team today at 1000 Highland Drive in the J. Scuddy South Plaza, conveniently located off of 390 in Henrietta.
Scott Dingman trying to get himself in our championship match against Mark Polaski. Has the lead at the moment as he gets ready for the 6th frame. All strikes and spares for the first 5 for Scott Dingman.
Ooh.
A little too far left that time.
Yep. Got that out a little bit.
See, I'm starting to figure out when you make noises like that, what you mean, right? We've worked together long enough that I can identify your reactionary noises.
I mean, he missed left, but it was a good miss because it rolled up pretty strong. It was a hair high, but in all honesty, that could have tripped and fell. So if you're gonna make a mistake.
Winner of the 2020 Rochester Masters Tournament, among the high achievements on the resume of Scott Dingman.
Because that's what you don't want to do.
Yeah, that one was
leave
dead
yourself-
on to the head pin, which
Yeah.
means that's why all those pins on the opposite left side are still standing. That's the first real bad shot from Scott Dingman today.
Well, he left something similar to this in the second frame, but this makes it just a little bit tougher with that sleeper behind
Yeah,
him.
so in the second frame it was the 2-4-7. Now you got the 2-4-7-8. Does
Right.
that change your approach?
You really want to hit the 2-8 head on. Very good.
You want to hit them all?
Yep. It's tough. It's easy to leave that back pin, though, if you don't hit it right.
All right.
And he gave up a few pins in count.
Yeah.
He went in up 23. That's going to, give – this is where Geno wants to take advantage right here.
Right.
If he can
So
get all 10.
I was going to say, shockingly, not a single strike yet from Geno Walh. It's the 7th frame. And that stretch will continue. It's hard to win against a Hall of Fame bowler when you're not striking.
Yeah.
Even if you're making your spares, which Geno has done minus except for one, at some point you gotta score touchdowns and not kick field goals.
Yeah, so Geno was going a little high in this lane, and whatever he chose to do there went even higher. So
That is
not what he was looking for.
6 consecutive spares for Geno Walh. And there's a little
well, he
bit
shut
of
me up on the spare game anyways.
yeah, there's a little bit of talking to himself there in frustration, I think. And the spare string will have to continue.
So that my guess there is that he moved in a little bit looking for more of the light hit because that half 10 wasn't going to carry. That half pocket that he was hitting it was leaving the 10 pin. So now he looked a little bit more for the swisher hit, and that ball didn't recover enough at all.
Well, this match has been all about the spare parts. 7 in a row for Geno Walh, 3 spares in a row for Scott Dingman, and that streak comes to an end with an 8th frame strike.
I think he looks at his watch like it's been a while.
Yeah,
good shot, more
it's
direct.
been a good 10 minutes or so since anybody had a strike.
More direct. Didn't open that one up as much. That was a little firmer. Good choice.
And now if Scott can come up with his first double since frames 3 and 4, it'll go a long way towards getting him into the championship.
Putting the hammer down.
There it is.
Nice shot. The great ones can do that.
Yeah, I was just thinking the same thing. That's what makes it such a pleasure to watch guys like Scott Dingman. He knows, we know, like, oh, this is a pretty critical spot right here, and they answer the challenge.
He hasn't struck in 4 frames, and all of a sudden he lays it right where he needs to.
Yeah, it's just been the story for Geno all match here. Just a little bit, a little high, a little light, a little bit other than everywhere he wants to be.
Well, that's what I consider to be not good ball reaction. I mean, you miss right, and I mean, you give up the pocket altogether just by trying to tweak it just a little bit. I mean, he wasn't trying to change everything. He was just trying to tweak it and lost the pocket altogether.
Yeah, and I think he kind of lost it on that shot, as you probably saw his reaction in the corner of the frame.
And that double really, kind of took the air out of him.
He knows, right? I mean, there's always the inevitability of I know where this is going. There's nothing I can do to stop it now. So it'll be playing out the string here in the 10th frame for Geno Walh, but it's Scott Dingman that will get a second win here today, and that will put him into our championship match, where Scott Dingman owns 3 of those title victories so far in his Beat the Champ career.
Yeah, I expect a good match coming up.
So one more for Geno here. Geno's talking it up a little bit with Mark Polaski. Like, Geno's not the guy Mark has to try to intimidate. It's Scott Dingman. So Geno Walh will put up on the board a disappointing 164 for him. And Scott Dingman to the 10th frame to finish out the win. Yeah, that's crazy, isn't it?
That's a feat in itself.
It is a feat, isn't it?
But
so 3 strikes in a row clinches it for Scott Dingman. A win over Geno Walh. So the championship match is Dingman and Polaski. It's next. You're watching Storm Beat the Champ, presented by BowlersMart on YouTube.
Like and subscribe to our channel now. Don't miss any of the action.
It's our championship match, and it will feature Mark Polaski versus Scott Dingman. And this should be fun because we saw how good a bowler Mark Polaski was last week in knocking off Pat Brick. And we know how good a bowler Scott Dingman is, even before he has won his first 2 matches with scores of 233 and 222.
So interesting enough, we know Mark has the decision of who starts the match and where they start or finish, and he has chosen to have Scott start the match. Not necessarily uncommon, but he did take the opportunity to try to alter the lane on the right side by throwing sanded equipment up Scott's lane where he's using where he's throwing the ball. So we'll see if that has any effect.
Yeah, it was interesting to watch him in the warm-ups before our match started. He was throwing that ball down the left side of the lanes, which is not where he plays, and there didn't appear to be any real practice focus of hitting pins, just throwing that ball down the left side lanes. And as you pointed out, like, you know, we talk about, is there any real defense in bowling? That's a little bit of it, isn't it?
You know,
it's a strategic way to mess some things up for your opponent.
Right, and he only did it on the lane he wants him to finish on. So he was, you know, trying to take some of the oil off the lane, which is why he took a super standard ball and threw backup balls over on Scott's side, only on the right lane though, not on the left lane, to try to make the two lanes different and take some oil off the lane and give Scott a tougher shot on the lane he has to finish on. So does that work? Is it worth it? I mean, I guess you'll find out. I know that, you know, doing stuff like that is, you know, starting to become more popular, but I see it more in a team atmosphere where, you know, you're trying to break down a shot to help yourself, not really to do anything to your opponent, but more to help yourself. Like at nationals, teams will try to like make themselves, I think we've talked about this before, where they'll take standard equipment and try to make themselves a spot on the lane that hooks, but, you know, it's used more in an offensive light, not in a defensive light.
I would suspect that in all the bowling that Scott has done in his life, he has seen this happen before. Do you think he's bothered by it?
Well, Scott, no. I mean, I think that younger players or something like that, maybe not as experienced, maybe. But I don't think that Scott is affected by it. In fact, you're doing it right in front of him. So, you know, will he have a plan in place for if he sees that happen? I think he will.
I would suspect if there's any of our bowlers that we see on our show regularly that has a plan in place for it, it would be a guy like Scott Dingman.
I got to be honest with you, as a person who has been around a while, like Scott, I would think that, you know, it would be, in terms of, I think it would affect how much respect you have. And, you know, respect amongst each other and amongst other players. Some people care if they get it and some people don't. You know, if you're going to do that right in someone's face, I'm going to say you probably don't care.
It is as much of a intimidation, gray area maneuver that we see in this sport, isn't it?
You know, that's, if you want to waste your take your practice shots and, you know, and here you go. Now he goes high on that lane. It's almost proven him. He's been going high on that lane. So now Mark's been watching the whole time. He knows what's happening out on the lane. You see how that ball left, basically right turned?
Yeah. So again, this is the second time in 2 matches we've seen this same 2-4-7-8 left by Scott Dingman. He made it the last time. Let's see if he does it again. And he does. Well, it's a very interesting setup to this match, right? There's a lot on the line anyway. It's a championship match. Mark Polaski wants to get a streak going of 2 in a row. Scott Dingman has not won a match here or a championship here on our show since last season. He wants to add to those 3 career wins that he has. So it's a fun little added bonus to what figured to be a good match no matter what.
Gives us something to talk about.
And that's 2 in a row now where Scott is leaving some pins that he did not intend to leave and doesn't have to want to work so hard at a spare that he does here. That's the 2-7. So very similar to what we just saw in the one before, right?
Yeah,
Same reasons?
Yep, going high. So this ball's starting to hook for him. So he's going to have to either move in or think about less ball. I know that on the fill ball in 10th frame of the last match, he did switch to his IQ to try to feel something out and chose to go back to this ball, so he must not have liked what he saw.
So in 3 games here today, that's the first open frame for Scott Dingman. And Mark Polaski, the 26-year-old from North Fort Myers, Florida, coming off spares in the first 2 and flip it around. Turn your TV set upside down because now we've got the 3-6-10.
Right-hander, left-hander.
Just an example of the reach of this show. Now, Mark Polaski has some relationships with some Buffalo bowlers. Pat Brick is someone he bowls with and against and considers a real mentor to him. But to see somebody from North Fort Myers, Florida, with minimal ties to our upstate New York area be a part of the show is always fun. And that's a third straight spare pickup here in the third frame. If you were with us last week when you watched Mark beat Pat Brick 235 to 215, you saw his rather interesting stutter step approach here. And if you're looking at it for the first time here on this show, you'll kind of go, what's going on there? That looks very different than what we're used to.
Yeah. And this is a very mental sport. And at some point, he had a little bit of a block and needs to get his feet going, and that's how he gets his feet going. I mean, he gets them going, and then he gets the ball into the approach. You see, he doesn't really – he actually has a very short approach once he gets the ball in motion.
Strike in the fourth frame, first strike of the match for Mark Polaski. 234 and 235 were the results in his 2 games last week.
Okay, he's sticking with this. He's sticking with this ball.
So it's been strike spare open in the first 3 frames for Scott Dingman. And I was on hold there to see if that pin was going to roll over and take out the 7. It did not. Yeah, it tried. It just ran out of the back of the lanes. Oh, Scott was a little worried as he watched that one go down the lanes whether it was going to nudge it or not. Our host center for Storm Beat the Champ, presented by BowlersMart, is Doug Kent's Rose Bowl Lanes, and you can find them online at DKRBL.com. They're just one of our many great host centers, and if you want details on how to be a part of Beat the Champ, just stop in at any of our host centers and ask them how you can be on the show, and we might be seeing you here on the lanes. Sue and I talking about your game. We're running out of our season here. We only have 2 more host centers that we're going to visit before season 2 comes to an end. And, of course, the Beat the Champ Invitational will wrap up our season at Transit Lanes a couple of months from now. Of course, everybody that makes the show is eligible to qualify for the Beat the Champ Invitational, which is essentially our season-ending playoff show to crown our season-long champion. Last year it was Ty Ingles, and we'll see who it's going to be this year. Dingman with a spare in the 5th takes us to a timeout. From here at Doug Kent's Rose Bowl Lanes, we're back with more in a moment.
XXX Tech Bowling Supplies is committed to continuing the decades-long tradition of excellence established by the DeSanto family. We are the ultimate destination for customer service, experience, and product variety. We offer an extensive inventory of balls, bags, shoes, and accessories. Our unique fitting and drilling process, combined with our in-house lane, ensures a perfect fit every time. With a range of repair and maintenance services, we can help keep your gear performing at its best. Consult our team today at 1000 Highland Drive in the J. Scuddy South Plaza, conveniently located off of 390 in Henrietta.
5th frame now for Mark Polaski. And that is 2 in a row for Mark. Starting to find his groove a little bit. 35 career 300 games and a high 848 series, and among the highlights of the resume for Mark Polaski, winning a PBA regional in 2023, the Tampa Bay Open. Mark Polaski Jr. from North Fort Myers, Florida. You and I both spent a little time down there in Southwest Florida. It's a great spot.
Sure is. Well, this was a good ball change for him, too.
Sixth frame now for Scott Dingman. And all of a sudden he's looking at his opponent who spared his first 3, has now struck his last 3. And Scott does not have a strike since the opening frame. This is the 6th championship match Scott Dingman has been a part of. 3 wins and 2 losses in the previous 5 championship match, which has led to that 3-match winning streak from last season. And there's back to striking for Scott Dingman.
Excellent ball change. I mean, it's always a risk when you change balls. You know, I mean, you think you know your equipment, and you do, and you know in succession what you're going to do next. But you know, you still got to make a good guess on the lane as to where you're going to stand, and that was a good ball change right there.
Is there confidence in your mind mostly when you make a ball change, or is it like that other one isn't working, I need to do something?
That's a great question. When you make a ball change, you make a ball change with confidence, because there's no way to get a read if you don't. So you commit, make a decision, and you commit. Oh, we've seen this spare a lot.
Yes, this is the 2nd time in this match and the 3rd time in the last 2 games that Scott has left the 2-4-7-8. And I think that little look on his face and the shake of his head tells you I am tired of looking down the lanes at those 4 pins. But he's made them both. And he'll make them again. Mark Polaski working a triple right now, strikes in 4, 5, and 6. And that will not continue, as the 4-pin will not cooperate here in the 7th. But it's a point in this match where Mark may be ready to take control.
That was actually a bit of a break. That was coming up pretty high. Just leaving the 4-pin was probably a bonus.
Been a clean game so far for Mark Polaski. 3 strikes, 3 spares, 4 spares.
You almost got him. He looked not too sure about that spare.
No, I think we're learning that sometimes the worst indicator of the result is watching the bowlers' reactions when the ball leaves their hands. Sometimes it tells you everything, and sometimes it tells you absolutely nothing.
He might have caught some oil he wasn't expecting, because that was looking a little light.
Determined look on the face of Mark Polaski.
Another break. That could have easily been a 210. He breaks him up pretty good.
Hey, sometimes good luck is sometimes all you need.
Taking that 8 out was good too, because you know that sleeper.
I was thinking the same thing. Like, that was almost a 2-8, which would have made this a lot more difficult shot. Got those 8 steps in that Mark wants to take. Count it home for yourself if you'd like. It used to be 7. He changed it to 8 not that long ago, right? He added the extra step.
Yep. Who doesn't need
I
eight
joked with
steps
him.
in
I
their
said
approach?
if he starts adding any more steps, he's going to start every frame from the bathroom. The bathroom or the bar, one or the other. Starting every frame from the bar might not be always the worst idea in the world either.
Some bowlers do that. Oh, good break.
Yeah, Scott needed that break in the 8th frame here. He needed that sliding strike.
I mean, he needs them all. There's just no two ways about it. He's going to have to get them all just to put a little pressure on Mark.
A chance for Mark Polaski to join his buddy Pat Brick as a 2-in-a-row winner if he can hold off Scott Dingman. And then an even better chance to come back next week and eclipse his buddy Pat Brick with a 3rd straight win. But let's not get ahead of ourselves yet. Split screen look here at Scott Dingman.
Big shot for Scott.
Huge strike in the 9th frame. And again, we're setting up what we talked about at the beginning of the match, which is Scott ending on the left lanes. We'll see whether he's got a chance to win or not, and we'll see whether what Mark was able to do with that left lane in warm-ups has an impact or not.
Yep, it's
kind of had a feeling it was going to come back around to that.
It's in Mark's hands here. It could not matter, but if he doesn't at least have a double here, it will matter.
And there's strike number 1. And a big chance here in the 10th frame to grab that 2nd consecutive win.
Yep, he needs a strike here.
Our first Beat the champion from Florida, trying to become our first multiple week winner from Florida.
Anything other than a strike, and Scott will have a chance.
And there's the strike, which means no chance. Count that as a touchdown here at the Rose Bowl, and it's Mark Polaski that's going to touch down with a victory over Scott Dingman and give him his 2nd consecutive win. And a chance to finish it out here in style.
Yep, he really just needs to keep it on the lanes. Excellent finish.
3 in a row with a chance for 1 more. And again, this is a match that started for Mark with spares in the first 3 frames as he struggled to find the range to knock them all down. Final shot.
Wow.
And the final score on the board is going to be a win for Mark Polaski with a 231. He's bowled 3 games, 231, 234, and 235. How about that for consistency? And the ultimate consistency for Mark is 2 wins in a row. And a bit of a frustrating match here for Scott Dingman. Could just never seem to find the rhythm. At least the rhythm of striking.
Yeah, those two 6 counts certainly did hurt, and they were in inopportune places.
And the strikes are just coming too late right now for Scott Dingman.
Well, he might have made the ball change a little too late. He did test this out and chose to start with the other ball. You know, that's only he knows.
Well, Mark Polaski came into us with a 235 average, and that average will sit right about there with the results that we told you. It's a 231 to 216 win. Mark Polaski is a 2-time champion. We'll talk to him when we return at Storm Beat the Champ, presented by BowlersMart.
Presented by BowlersMart.
Plenty of options.
Chamois, jerseys, balls bags, and shoes. The highest quality products you'll find on the market, and here at BowlersMart, we make sure to find the correct access point of any bowler to maximize their benefits from our products and ensure a great experience. Stop by today and let us help you, because at BowlersMart, every bowler matters.
The Western New York area has long been considered one of the best anywhere for the sport of bowling.
And no matter where you live, we have lanes nearby.
For top competition,
Fun with family and friends.
Great food and drink, or just a night out, we got you.
We are
The bowling proprietors.
of Western New York.
Stop in and enjoy our sport today.
Beat the Champ is sponsored by Storm, the Bowlers Company. By BowlersMart, trusted by bowlers around the world since 2004. And by the Bowling Proprietors Association of Western New York. Stop in and enjoy our sport today. Well, for the second straight week, Mark Polaski stands here as our Beat the Champ winner. Now, last week on the show, you're bowling your buddy, Pat Brick. You had a lot of fun with it. It's a cool rivalry because you guys are friends. Little different setup here this week, particularly in the fact that you didn't have a match before the championship. So was your approach any different?
No, not much. I mean, like I said, I was bowling another lefty. So same idea, just Pat Brick's my buddy. So
A little less trash talk, right?
Little less trash talk. Although I enjoy the trash talk.
All right, I did notice, you get a few practice shots, but, you have to sit and watch. How do you choose what piece of equipment you're going to use or how you're going to change balls during the match?
Yeah, so that was the best look I had. The Ion Pro looked good on the fresh, and when I missed with the Ion, it just kind of flat-10, so I got out of it quick.
We talked a little bit about you being our first multiple-week champion from the state of Florida. How'd you find out about this show, and what made you want to be a part of it?
Yeah, so I had no idea what was going on. Pat Brick told me about it, and I qualified for another tournament that Friday night, so my Saturday was free, and this is what I spent it doing.
All right, well, it's awesome. We want to have winners from all 50 states, but at least we've got one from Florida, and we're going to get to see him again because he's going to be back to try to make it 3 wins in a row. That'll be next week when we're right back here at Doug Kent's Rose Bowl Lanes for next week's edition of Storm Beat the Champ, presented by BowlersMart.